We're back here on Jones and Company, and we are having an interesting conversation with two gentlemen who are involved in Prison Fellowship International, Mr. Williams and Mr. Pratt.
Let me tell you a story.
Yes?
Let me tell you a story. Last week, I met a gentleman who was in charge of the abattoir in one of the prisons of Ohio.
Okay.
Ohio State Penal Institution. Right? And in that abattoir, you got about 20 or 30 guys who are slaughtering animals with knives.
Right.
Right? With knives. He said he has never had an incident of attack.
Right.
You know why? He said two things. Usually, to get that job, that's a high-paying job.
Okay.
He said each inmate gets $21 a month.
Okay.
If you work in the abattoir, you may go $200 a month. He said in prison, that's gold.
Yes.
He said that's gold. And they train these individuals. And he said he got 3 or 4 lifers, fellas who would never get out of jail. Working in there, right? And they value their jobs. Because when they come out, they have a skill. And also, it's the pay. So you have to have certain incentives in your program if you want to deal with the rehabilitation of these people.
Yeah.
You just can't put a fella in there and say you get 5 years, right? But you get 8 months on every year.
Well, you're warehousing people.
That's what you're doing.
That's warehousing people.
You can't operate it that, not today.
Yeah. One of the things what we trying to do.
It makes sense to you?
Yes,
exactly
yes,
makes sense. One of the things we were trying to do, Mr. Jones, is speak to the authorities to sit down with them and let them know, okay, the way how you're doing business, we need to kind of change that a little bit. I agree with him. Being incarcerated in the United States, they have a thing called Unicor in all the federal systems. Unicor is like a company where they make different things and they sell it to the community. One of suggesting, I think, what we could do with the manpower at our prison is that we have a lot of hotels, Mr. Jones, and they have a lot of bedspreads and stuff. Build a facility where these guys them use their hand and make the beds and sell it to the hotels. We can do other things there. They have we can have I know back in the days they used to do farming up there. They used to have pigs and they used to do block making. I think that is slowed down, but I think they need to revisit that and let's get these guys working. It's hard to be locked down for 23 hours, Mr. Jones, doing nothing.
Yeah, they should be.
I agree.
Yeah.
So that is some of the things we are going to make a suggestion to those and authorities up there and say, hey, look here, we got to switch this up to like you say, make these guys feel like they're human again. Right. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's one of the things.
You see, victimhood is what we do not talk about in the Bahamas. The extent to which people are victimized,
right,
and young people who are out of prison are being victimized. Being victimized because they are not being parented properly, all right? You had no father, your mother died early, and so you became a ward of the society, a victim of the society.
Yeah.
And so you had to find ways and means to do some things
to survive.
And there are a whole lot of young men out there who have no jobs. They have children that they need to take care of. They are miseducated or poorly educated. And so they are victims of the society. And these victims of the society who are hurting, they hurt other people. They become violent because I have a baby home and my baby need Pampers. My baby need milk and I have nothing. I have nowhere to turn. And so they're victims of the society. And so they become angry. The level of anger in the society now, you can cut it with a knife.
Also,
Because they are angry, they become violent, and then they go to prison, and they find themselves in that little space. And going in prison violent, going in prison angry, finding themselves pushed in that little space.
More angry.
They become they become angrier.
Angrier.
right. You know, and then you have young men.
And then no rehabilitation taking place.
Right.
And then so after he serves his time,
He
comes out angrier.
And get rejected by society.
Rejected by
Can't
society.
get no job.
Can't get no job.
Yeah.
So what he does again? He's trying to rob somebody,
Right.
and he goes back in prison,
But
back in hellhole.
But the system that we have, right, creates victims unknowingly. Let me tell you.
Yes.
A young man came to me for a job. All right. He said he graduated from one of the government schools. He said he graduated. The young man couldn't fill out the application. He didn't know his mother's last name. He didn't know where his mother worked. He couldn't even spell the name of the school where he supposedly graduated from.
Miseducated.
Right? Now, here's this fellow. Unleashed on society,
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
A fella falls straight through the
Unleashed
cracks.
on society.
Yeah.
Huh? Through a failed educational system.
Society failed him.
Right? A failed educational system. He is unleashed on society.
Yes.
Now, what is he going to do?
He still have the power of choice.
Society failed him.
Yes,
Society failed him.
we agree, but you see, he or she still
Now
has the power of choice.
he see you
Yeah.
in your car with your watch on.
Yeah.
He wants that, right? So
Because he could sell it.
Yeah.
We are manufacturing criminals in the society. There is an assembly line of criminals all through heartland communities of the Bahamas because society has failed them in providing opportunities for them
Right.
and the environment in which they can grow as productive human
Right.
beings.
Why every Bahamian under the law is entitled to 12 years of education. 12 years. That's mandatory.
Right.
You mean to tell me in those 12 years you can't identify that this fella can't read and write? You can wait until he gets in grade 12 and then you give him a paper and tell him he graduate?
You know, one of the things I think should have happened.
Is that fair to the nation? Is that it ain't fair to him, but is it fair to us as citizens to have that kind of individual in our society without any skills in this time?
With David Williams. I had an interview with the former Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mr. Golding.
Right.
And Mr. Golding knew that Jamaica had a serious crime problem. And he was talking, I went to Jamaica, spoke with him, and he said to me that young men need to have some programs to guard them and guide them away from criminality and criminal behavior.
Right.
And he gave me a number of scenarios
Okay.
where young men who are broke and angry and miseducated, as Godfrey said, simply decide that, you know, I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to steal that TV. Because chances are I'm not going to be caught.
Right.
I'm not going to be caught. And if I steal that television, I might be able to sell that so that I can give my girlfriend some money to take care of my baby.
Right.
Yeah.
He said,
Taking a chance.
yes.
Right.
But in taking that chance, he got caught.
Right.
Denver Pratt took a chance
Yes.
on I-75 and got caught, right?
Right. Yes.
You were taking a chance.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But after being caught, you were placed in an institution where real rehabilitation was
took
taking
place.
place.
Yes. And the truth, what you said, that's the truth of what you're saying, but my rehabilitation, I don't want you to, and I want nobody to forget it, comes from God.
Yes.
That's where the rehabilitation comes from.
Yes.
The renewing of the mind.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Jones.
The renewing.
If I could speak to you all day, but if your mind is not renewed, you'll go back into the same environment and do the same thing.
You are placed in a position for the renewal to take place.
But it happens here.
How your mind can be renewed?
But Mr.
How your mind
Jones,
can be renewed with 5 other fellas in the
the
cell?
same thing could happen to Fox Hill Prison.
Yes.
With 5 fellas in the cell?
Yes, that doesn't negate it. See,
Dave said something very interesting, and all boils down to it's choice.
choices, the power.
I'm not saying that the circumstances are not difficult.
That's right.
We go up there on a weekly basis. We see it. But if you want to, it can happen.
90% of the young men who are out of prison have not returned to a criminal life. You will discover a person who have accepted Jesus as Lord of their life.
Yeah.
Let me mention
but David,
Hey.
when the inmates come on my show,
Right.
and they say, Mr. Jones, that place is a university where you can learn about criminal behavior.
We agree.
Because when I am in prison and I'm in that room with 6 fellas, while I'm trying to concentrate, they are teaching me how not to be caught when I get out and what to do when I get out. Because they say to me, nobody gonna hire you. And so this is how you should behave when you get out. So he spent most of his time in that cell with hardened criminals.
Yes.
And he became an angrier man, and he got lessons in criminality in that 5x7. Unlike you, who had a more commodious situation where you were able to concentrate, where you were able to think about the goodness of the Lord.
Go to the library.
All right? And allow and to imbibe people who are coming in teaching about the scriptures and all the rest of it. You were able to concentrate properly.
Don't get me wrong, Mr. Jones. During my time of incarceration, the temptation was there because I told you earlier, I was in federal prison with guys from all walks of life. I'm talking about mafias, Don Corleones, pimps, and all of that. So it all boils down to the choice. I could have said, okay, let me connect with the Colombian guy. Let me connect with this guy. All of those type of individuals are in the prison. I choose not to do because I understand I made a mistake and I don't want to end up back there.
Oh, the power of the mind. And come back.
So that's why, from that day to now, I'm doing what I'm doing, and I want to reach back to those individuals and says, if I can do it, you can do it.
Mr. Eneas mentioned a point. He talked about identifying the young men. And here's something I believe. I use my son as an example. My son went to private school, and he had his challenges because, the focus is more academically. But my son went away to a technical school in West Palm Beach. And my son excelled the students in the United States while they were talking about what grades, who got and who got. And the teacher said to my son, ask Shannon Williams what he got. And when he mentioned the grades that he got, they were shocked. My point is, I had him to a private school where the focus was on academics. When he went to technical school, Lincoln Tech and West Palm Beach, my son back in Nassau, Bahamas now, as an auto mechanic certified, he spent a year getting experience. And so I'm saying, this is what we need to do then. Maybe look at the school system, identify the areas that these young people...
That strengths are.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm pushing him in private school, pure academics.
Yeah.
He's not interested in that.
Skills.
Yes. But when he get a hands-on...
His skills.
So maybe this is the way we need to go now.
I congratulate you, my brother, in your new position. And we wish you well. And Mr. Pratt, you are here back home, and you've been back home for how long?
I've been back home from 2008.
From 2008?
Yes, sir.
And so you've been working with inmates from 2008?
Yes, sir. Not just inmates, into our schools too.
Okay.
Yes.
Working on the mind.
Yes, sir.
Working on the mind. It's the heart of man is exceedingly evil that you have to reach and change hearts and minds, eh?
Mr. Jones, one thing I noticed that
close up. Go on, but go on.
is missing in our country, and I think we could tap into it. I believe, and I said this earlier, if the men of our country, the prominent men, those who have already made it, would go back into those intercities and say, I'm going to reach Lil Jon and I'm going to bring Lil Jon up. If each one would get one, we'll see a difference in our country and this crime problem. Too many of our men who made it are not reaching back and helping our young men.
Absolutely. Godfrey, get back in Bayon Town.
No, but there are many ways of reaching back.
Yes,
There are many ways of reaching back.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you so very much for being here today.
Thank you.
An interesting conversation.
Yes.
And we have to do more of this. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, Godfrey Eneas. Thank you for watching and listening to our program. Good evening, everyone.